Welcome to valuationpodcast.com, a podcast and video series about all things related to business and valuation. My name is Melissa Gragg, and I'm a mediator and business valuation expert in St. Louis, Missouri. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Kirk Michie. He is located in San Diego, California, and the founder of Candor Advisors. For more than 30 years, he's worked with entrepreneurs, closely held business owners, and high net worth families to achieve strategic planning, liquidity investment, and legacy objectives. What do you think are some of the biggest dynamics that these multi-generational businesses face when they're considering a sale? I think the most obvious one is that you're going to have a family that is divided a little bit, or there's a couple people that may not want to sell. But what are we, that's just what we assume is happening. What do you, from an expertise standpoint, really see what's happening?
Yeah, so we've seen a number of things that are that happen in multi-generational business sales that are common to all transactions, and then some that are really specific to multi-generational businesses. And so in the latter category, you would look at the importance of legacy. So if a business is 50 to 100 years old and Gen 3 is running it now, and let's just say for a second that Gen 3 is capable of continuing to run it, but it's an opportune time to sell it, or everybody has decided, you know what, let's move on from that, right? So if it were a Gen 1 business, there'd probably only be one or two people making the decisions about why they wanted to sell and what defined for them the right kind of outcome. But in a second, third, or fourth generation business sale, a lot of times it's supporting multiple people. It's not just supporting one family, it's supporting a bunch of families. And not everyone is going to have the same viewpoint about whether it's the right time to sell or not. Not everyone is going to be okay with giving up their current distributions and running certain expenses through the business and just getting a pile of cash. Not everyone is going to feel like they've had they want their shot at running it. If the current group isn't capable or no longer wants to run it, maybe it's my turn to run it. And none of these things happen when an entrepreneur starts a company and 30 years later, as the sole member of the LLC or sole shareholder in the S Corp decides to sell it. It doesn't matter whether the chief operating officer thinks they could do a better job of running it and the business shouldn't be sold. The owner is selling the business. But in a multi-generational business, you have this stuff that, kind of leaks out at Thanksgiving meals about like who should be doing what. That doesn't happen in a first gen business sale. And then there's also the people who worked for the company before the current generation even started running the company, maybe even before they started working in the company, right? So you have people that have kind of more of the tribal knowledge of the history of the business than the current generation that's operating it and is interfacing with the transaction advisors to sell the business. And, so you're going to have some opinions there too. And that's what I mean by legacy. I don't necessarily mean, kind of the name or the community impact or the numbers of people that are employed. It can be all of that too. But I mean kind of the institutional history and the numbers of other families that are also affected by this. And all of that makes for trickier dynamics and more nuanced conversations, and probably requires a lot more skill from the advisors to get that right. So getting like price terms and legacy control might be relatively easy. But getting all those other pieces right, that's so much trickier.